Next, we'll move on to ischemic heart disease. So ischemic heart disease is any kind of ischemia to the heart, like any kind of occlusion to the heart, blood vessels to supplying coronary arteries. So that is going to result in ischemic heart disease. So we have 4 diseases under that: angina, myocardial infarction, chronic IHD, and sudden cardiac death. So we'll be discussing angina and MI alone. So angina is nothing but pain associated, that is chest pain, which we see associated with this ischemic heart disease. So angina can be of 3 types: stable angina, an unstable angina, or a Prince metal angina. So in a stable angina, what will be there? Only when the patient is doing some exertion, only then the patient is going to experience chest pain. Okay, so that is going to be stable angina. However, in an unstable angina, which is also called as a crescendo angina, the pain is going to be present with very less exertion also. Just like that, getting up can cause chest pain. So that kind of angina is called as unstable angina. And here, why does it occur? Suppose there was an atherosclerotic plaque which was causing the obstruction, and that is getting ruptured. So that rupture can go and cause an ischemia. So that is why it is going to cause an unstable angina. Then Prince metal angina. Here, it does nothing but the chest pain can be present even at rest. Just like that, sitting also they'll have pain, and suddenly it will come like a transient kind of thing. Why? Because the coronary artery is going to undergo vasospasm. So coronary artery vasospasm is the main cause of Prince metal angina. And if you give dilators like nitrates, so these dilators will cause immediate relief to these patients. Next, we'll see about myocardial infarction. Very important. I cannot stress on this more. So myocardial infarction is very potential. Many MCQs are there in that. So infarction. So as the name suggests, if infarction is there, there is going to be a coagulative kind of a necrosis. So whenever there is ischemia, there is going to be coagulative necrosis resulting in an infarct. So how long does it take for the myocyte to undergo infarction? That is the most important question here. So, the cardiac muscle is sensitive to ischemia within 30 minutes. So, approximately half an hour, the heart is going to undergo irreversible injury. So, that is one of the most important questions. So, 20 to 40 minutes. So, approximately you take it as half an hour. So, within half an hour, it will undergo irreversible cell injury. But the initial change, that is the reversible changes, it starts with mitochondrial injury. So, whenever hypoxia, ischemia is there, it is going to affect the mitochondria, and mitochondria will result in, whenever it is damaged, ATP is going to be decreased, right? Production will be decreased. So, the ATP depletion will start within seconds, okay? Within seconds, the ATP will start depleting. And the ATP depletion will go to up to 50% of normal within 10 minutes. However, within 40 minutes, that is within the, it has gone to irreversible change, okay? So, it will reduce to 10% of normal within 40 minutes. So, irreversible injury at that time, the ATP would have depleted to 10% of the normal. We have 2 types of myocardial infarction, which is based upon the ECG changes. So, on ECG, if you see an ST elevation, it is called as a ST elevation MI, which is STEMI. Okay, STEMI, it is going to be because of a transmural infarction. So, all the entire thickness of the muscle wall is going to be involved in STEMI. However, in non-STEMI, it is going to be only a part of the wall, that is only the subendocardial region, which is more prone for this ischemia, is going to be affected, and here there will be no ST elevation. Okay, then we'll see about the cardiac biomarkers. So, whenever there is a necrosis, obviously the cell is dying. So, when cell necrosis is happening, the contents of the cell will be coming out of the cell into the extracellular environment, and the enzymes, cardiac enzymes which are present in the cardiac myocyte will also be released into the blood, and these enzymes only we are measuring to find out myocardial infarction. Okay, so we have various enzymes. Previously, the earliest biomarker was considered to be myoglobin, but now we have some other thing which is called as heart-associated fatty acid binding protein. So, HFABP is going to be the earliest enzyme to be elevated more than myoglobin. Myoglobin starts elevating within 2 hours, and then it will come back to normal within a day. Okay, so this table as such is quite important. The names of the enzymes, their starting and their ending is going to be important, and the MCQs associated with it. But if they ask for what is this most specific kind of an enzyme, specific and sensitive kind of an enzyme which is related with MI, it is going to be troponin I. Okay, troponin I or T, but more of troponin I. This is going to be the enzyme which is going to be most specific and sensitive. So here it will start rising within 2 to 4 hours. And it will come back to normal within 7 to 10 days. So within a week or so, it will come to normal. And it is the marker of reinfarction. Within the time itself, if the patient is undergoing for a reinfarct, the most important enzyme which is going to be useful will be measuring the troponin I. So marker of reinfarction is also troponin I. The most sensitive and specific marker is also going to be troponin I only. Previously, remember, the marker of reinfarction was CKMB, but now it is troponin I. It has changed now. So remember that. And there is also something called as LDH flipping. So flipping, normally the LDH2, the form of LDH2 will be elevated more than LDH1. So LDH2 is more than LDH1 normally. But in MI, it is going to be reversed. That is, LDH1 will be more than LDH2 because LDH1 is going to be present in the heart. So when MI happens, it is going to come out. So this LDH1 is going to be elevated more than LDH2 in MI. So this flipping ratio is also important. Next, we'll go on to the autopsy findings. So any irreversible injury, I told it will start after half an hour only. So before half an hour, what will we see? It will be reversible injury. So in reversible injury, what were the features? We all know it is the swelling of the organelles. So the most important thing will be mitochondrial swelling, which will be the first feature, and it will be the only feature which we see in a reversible kind of injury. That is, under electron microscopically only we can see. So less than half an hour, you don't see any changes microscopically nor grossly. Only if you do an electron microscopy, you can see that there is going to be mitochondrial swelling and you can suspect an MI. But that is not going to happen, right? So in reversible injury, if they ask, only feature you will tell us electron microscopic finding, which is mitochondrial swelling. After 30 minutes, we all know it has undergone an irreversible injury. The ATP has depleted to less than 10% of the normal. So within 30 minutes to 4 hours, that is irreversible injury. So that is going to be the first microscopic finding, which will be the waviness of fibers. So the myocytes will start degenerating and it will undergo this wavy kind of appearance. So can you appreciate? Rather than being straight here, the muscles are becoming wavy. So this is the first light microscopic finding which we see in MI, and that is going to happen within 30 minutes to 4 hours. Then after 4 hours only, the first gross finding starts. Okay, after 4 hours only, the first gross finding starts, and that is going to be some occasional dark mottling. Okay. And when that dark mottling happens, microscopically, we see it as early coagulative necrosis. So, ischemia is going to cause coagulation necrosis, right? So, coagulative kind of necrosis will be starting to form. Under 12 to 24 hours, within a half a day to 1 day, it is going to cause dark mottling grossly. But on microscopy, this coagulative necrosis is going to form nicely. And another thing is contraction band necrosis, along with early neutrophilic infiltrate. So neutrophils are the first inflammatory cells to come into play, right? So within 24 hours, early neutrophilic infiltrate will come. And if you remember contraction band necrosis, I also mentioned it somewhere else, right? Where? In Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. So in Takotsubo cardiomyopathy also, you see this contraction band necrosis. Then after 1 to 3 days, what will happen? The coagulative necrosis will be formed nicely along with lots of neutrophilic infiltrate. So the maximum neutrophilic infiltrate and coagulative necrosis will be seen on day 1 to 3. And here the infarct, because the necrosis had formed, the center part will be the grossly, if you see, it will be the center part will be kind of soft and yellow, and it will be the infarct center surrounding which we see this mottled area. Okay. After 3 days, that is within a week, after 3 days and within a week, what you see is the neutrophils will be replaced by macrophages. Because they are it's becoming a chronic inflammation now. So neutrophils will be replaced by macrophages now, and when macrophages come, they will be seen at the border. So remember, when macrophages come at the border, you can also see a hyperemic border. So this is how I remember. So in 3 to 7 days, when new macrophages come, it is going to present at the border, and when they become, it will grossly, you can see it as a hyperemic border. So after 7 days, within 10 days, what happens is this macrophages which has come will eat up all the dead myocyte fibers. So phagocytosis by the macrophages will be done, and it will start forming early granulation tissue. So granulation tissue, we all know it is going to be composed of neoangiogenesis, fibroblasts, and chronic inflammatory cells, right? So this early granulation tissue will start by 7 to 10 days. Then 10 to 14 days, what happens? It is the most maximum amount of granulation tissue will be seen in 10 to 14 days only. And at 2 to 8 weeks, that is 2 to 8 weeks, this granulation tissue which had the fibroblasts will start producing collagen. So collagen will be start on increasing while the cells will start decreasing. So this is what will happen in 2 to 8 weeks. And by 2 months, what happens is this entirely cells are all gone. The entire collagen is going to form the scar tissue now. So dense collagenous scar will be present, and the scarring is going to be complete by 2 months. So these are the events which we see in myocardial infarction. This is very, very important table. Okay. So let's recap now. So the first finding we'll see will be only an electron microscopic finding, which will be a reversible injury that is within 30 minutes, and that will be mitochondrial swelling alone. The next thing, on the first thing which we see on irreversible injury, will be both electron microscopy and light microscopy. And on light microscopy, you will just see it as a waviness of fibers. So that will be between 30 minutes to 4 hours. One thing I forgot to mention here, I'll tell it here. So during this 30 minutes to 4 hours, I told there is not going to be any gross findings. But still, if you have the gross specimen and if you pour a stain called as TTC, that is triphenyl tetrazolium chloride. So triphenyl tetrazolium chloride. So if you use the stain TTC, it is going to cause a pale area. Okay, so normally this TTC will stain the LDH. So this red area which you see, no, so this is all the normal muscle. So it is still containing the LDH. So it's being stained by this TTC and it appears red. While this area, if you see, it is appearing kind of pale yellow and tan, right? So here the LDH has already leaked out from the necrosed myocytes. So LDH is not present, so that will appear pale. So that even though grossly you don't see anything, if you use this TTC stain, you can still find this kind of image on between 30 minutes to 4 hours. So the first gross finding as such will be seen between 4 to 12 hours, and that will be occasional dark mottling. Then contraction band necrosis, early neutrophilic infiltrate along with coagulation necrosis between half a day to 1 day. Then 1 to 3 days, the maximum amount of coagulation necrosis and neutrophilic infiltrate. Then 3 to 7 days, macrophages getting replaced, forming a hyperemic border on gross. Then 7 to 10 days, here granulation, early granulation tissue starts to form. 10 to 14 days, maximum granulation tissue is going to be formed. Then 2 to 8 days, scarring starts forming. By 2 months, scarring is complete. Okay. Remember it like a story. Along with GP, if you correlate, you will be able to understand this better and remember it. Okay.